this as well. Okay. Now, look, the point is we have done the audits of banks, of small private companies, of some cooperative societies or something like that. Okay, and I'm not saying that we have not done enough justice to professionally what we have already done. Okay, but the point is why we are here today is to brush up our language and make it suitable for a big four audience to hear us, right? This is what we are trying to do. I'm not trying to teach you anything new. All my slides I have prepared like in 2 hours only from the, I've prepared the slides from your CA intermediate module and not from CA final module also. Okay, fine. If someone is comfortable with opening their video, I think it will be good. I thought previously I will allow not to open, but it will help me connect with all of you better. Okay, great. So look, I will start off with what is audit basically. If you can, anyone can tell me what is audit very precisely? Any one of you, all four or five guys whom I've named you.
Mentioned in the slide.
It is there in this slide, but you don't have to mug up and say.
So, because my first line was actually same with that of which is written in the slide. Basically, it is an independent examination of books of accounts.
Right.
Um,
Forget about the second line, okay? So,
that I haven't even
so,
read.
so look, 2-3 things. Do you have pen and paper with you, guys? All of you?
Yeah.
Anyone who is not having it in the class? Okay. So take a pen and paper because this may come up as a question. To start with, a warm-up question. Okay, what is audit? Audit is what? An independent examination of a financial statement, okay, with an objective to express an opinion on that. With an objective to express an opinion on that the financial statement is true and fair. What are the 3 words you will keep remembering always? Independent examination, expressing an opinion, true and fair. We always say true and fair. As an auditor, we will not say true and correct. Got it? So क्या करना है हमको? एक financial statement उठाना है. We have to take up one financial statement, perform audit procedures on that, and say that these numbers which are coming in the financial statements are true and fair. This is our opinion on that. Clear with me, Deepak?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Just keep saying yes or no. It will be great for me. Huh? ठीक है, good. Now we will move to the next slide. Okay, इसमें there are a lot of things are there. More things. So all audit which we perform, okay, are performed under standard of auditing, SA, which are called as SA, okay, and it is borrowed from ISA, International Standard on Auditing. Do you recollect, all of you who have cleared the CA exams, guys? Standard on auditing. There are many. Okay, I don't want you to go through each standard of auditing, but anything which you do, there is a standard on auditing for that. Okay, so standard on auditing we will use and ensure that the financials are true and fair. That means what? It does not have any material misstatement. Okay?
Okay.
This is the word material misstatement, which you will write and use it tomorrow. Got my point? The words which I am telling you to use tomorrow, you will have to use tomorrow. ठीक है? And according to, so audit we will do according to the reporting framework, right? And this framework is defined in the audit report. I'll show you one audit report also, right? Karan, if you are there, can you just download and send me one annual report, any small company? Karan, can you hear me?
Sir, I can hear you, but today
You
I'm on
can't?
leave, sir.
No problem, no problem. Ask Arunima, can you share one audit annual report?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes.
have many, right?
Thank you.
So yeah, Arunima has
Yes.
many. Arunima and Samarth, they are articles in our team, and they have worked on a research project for ICI, where they have looked at like all the annual reports of top 50 companies. Okay, so the point is, what you will have to remember is material misstatement. So financial statement true and correct ho, that is not our objective. Our objective is that it has to be material. There should not be any material misstatement. Getting my point? Material misstatements means what? Which can change the look and feel of the person who is using the audit report or the financial statement, right? If you say you have a positive net worth, or your net worth is 100 crores, but actually there is some accounting which you have missed, and your net worth is only 5 crores. So it is material misstatement, right? But in case your net worth is 100 crores in the financial statement, but the correct net worth is 99, and you are reporting 100 in the financial statement, and you said it is true and fair, it may be, because it may not be material, right? So word material is very important in audit. Whatever we do, it has to be with materiality. It has to link with materiality, right? Applicable financial reporting framework means what? So in India, we have a Indian GAAP, the old Indian GAAP, everyone has done. AS accounting standard, which is called in. Then you have got Ind AS, which is also a framework, applicable accounting framework, coupled with the requirements of Companies Act, right? So Companies Act plus Ind AS becomes your applicable framework. Getting my point? In case you are in India, now let's say you are doing in US, so SEC requirements plus the US GAAP requirements becomes your applicable framework. If you are doing for Singapore, then some local Singapore Companies Act plus the Singapore GAAP, which is applicable, will become your applicable reporting framework. Am I clear with you guys?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, I have shared with you the annual report.
Great, Arunima. So, देखते हैं, what is the overall objective? To obtain reasonable assurance. Look, these words are all linked. Material misstatement, it should not carry material misstatement. That means it should give you reasonable assurance that everything is fine. Okay, reasonable assurance, because you cannot say that it is true and correct. We in our audit report never say that it is true and correct. I will show you the annual report also. We tell it is true and fair. Okay? True and correct,
Yes.
we say only in tax audit report. Let's not confuse with that. Statutory audit report, we say true and fair.
Fair.
Done? Okay. So same thing, reasonable assurance, financial statement is free from material misstatement. Please use these words, okay? Please use these words. Make these words as your life, basically, right? It's like LOL kind of a thing, right? LOL has become our life right now. So it's a jargon for that, okay? So to report on the financial statements and communicated as requirement by standard of auditing, right? So clear, we are governed by, if India is concerned, we are governed by Institute of Chartered Accountants, who releases the essays. We are governed by Companies Act, who notifies the accounting standard. If you are in US, then SEC regulations plus the US GAAP or IFRS, whichever is applicable. That will become your reference point, right? Okay, this is on a very high level. Okay, now can you tell me, except for Karan in this room, I'm jumping to the audit. Okay, I'm jumping straight to audit now. Let's say I give you this financial statement. Let me just give me a second. Okay, I give you a financial statement. Okay, and I ask you to start auditing it. What will you do? Just in one line. Can anyone tell me?
Audit plan initially.
Who is this guy?
Hi, Charan.
Sai Charan, audit plan. Very good. Then what you will do? So, okay, I will stick to audit plan, but what is the one main thing in audit plan which you will consider?
Overall audit strategy?
Who is there? Sweetie.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who else? Anyone else?
Will identify and assess the risk of material misstatement through walkthrough process.
Through work-through process. Okay.
Identify what procedures need to be performed in audit.
Who said this?
Sai Charan.
Sai Charan. How do you identify which procedures to be performed?
Just, gross level after seeing the financial statements. Then need to identify which procedures need to be performed, which initially.
Right. So what are the assertions for each account balance? So what Sai Charan is saying is, I will take the financial statement and I will do an audit planning. We will come to all these terms. These are very important terms. And I will do an audit plan and perform procedures. Now, each procedure is performed with certain objectives, and they are called as assertions, audit assertions. What are the 5 major audit assertions which you do for any audit procedure? What are the assertions? I know Karan can tell, and since he is on leave, I will not disturb him. But,
Sir, I'm here.
Okay.
Completeness, existence, accuracy, valuation, and presentation.
Have you guys heard these terms? Anyone in this room?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Heard, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So-
Procedures and
So take it like a COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, it is as important as that. Getting my point? So
Yeah.
in the short form, it is called as CEAVOP. Right? CEAVOP. If you remember these terms, we will never forget. C for completeness, E for existence, A for accuracy, V for valuation, O for obligation or rights, and P for presentation. Clear? I will share this slide with you. Okay. But you have to, they will ask you, anyone, any audit interview will not let you go without answering these assertions. CEAVOP, and then we will relate this with our overall work strategy. Okay. Yeah.
I have a doubt.
Yes.
In what form they can put the question which will have this answer, audit assertion?
No, they will ask directly, what are the audit assertions?
Assertion. Okay.
Or they will ask you, in fixed assets, what are the assertions you will do, or what steps you will perform? So the point is, no one, you may be asked directly or you may be asked indirectly, but all your answers, I would say 60% of your answers you will get from these assertions, right? And I will tell you how to articulate in front of them to show the depth. Honestly, you should be able to clear the interview, whichever interview, in 5 answers. That's it. If a person is asking more, he is not confident on himself, right? So 5 answers, the way you articulate, shows the depth of it, right? So I will come to that, sweetie. Okay. But before that, I will go to the audit planning document. Okay. This is one of the important document, the most important document which we prepare for planning the audit. Okay. Now, assume a situation. Okay. And please, not everything is on the slide, so you can make notes. So audit can happen in two situations, right? What are the two situations? Where you were the auditor in the previous year. Second, you are appointed as a new auditor, right? In both the situation, you will have to have an audit plan in place, right? Now, audit plan, if it is a statutory audit, the main objective is very clear, that you will give a true and fair opinion, right? But still, scope needs to be decided. Still, you will have to make a detailed plan. What will be the detailed plan? Which account balances are critical account balances, which we will perform audit procedures on. That is one. You may ignore. Second, you will determine materiality. You will look at the internal controls of the organization, that based on the controls, your audit procedures will get determined, right? And your sorry, I got disturbed. So okay. So what you will do, you will prepare a wide plan, overall plan, which will have timing, which will have responsibility split, which will have account balances, which will have understanding of the entity's business, right? Based on that, your audit procedures will be performed. Even in planning stage, you will do materiality determination also, right? What will be the timing of performing the audit steps and all. So look at a very idealistic world. Okay, all of you, I'm sure no one would have experienced this kind of audit, which I am telling you, that it's a continuing client. Take an example. It's a continuing client, and as soon as you close the audit of, let's say, quarter one or financial year 2021, ideally your planning for next audit should start, right? This is one thing. Okay. Just give me a second. Just give me a I'm sorry for the disturbance. So you will do, your audit plan will start from next day of the audit committee. When you have signed off the report, how will your next year's audit or next quarter's audit will look like, right? That is where ideally your planning should start. How precise it should be, which account we need to audit, what will be the audit procedures on each account, what will be required by the client, what our team will perform, what will be the exact dates of that, right, of this performance, what is our materiality, when we will release the sample, when the client will revert with the sample, when we will sign it off, and when will be the next audit committee. And in the idealistic world, it should happen exactly on the same days, right? Can you visualize a situation where it can happen on the same day? Based on your experience, okay? Can you think that can things be so planned? Anyone?
No.
Anuja or Sweetie or Subbarao, Sai?
No.
It is not possible.
It is not possible.
Not
Who said
possible.
not possible?
Subba Reddy.
Subba Reddy. Okay.
Yeah.
It is not possible. But if I prove you that it is possible, look, I have done the audit which gave me the real flavor of what audit is Britannia Industries. Okay, it's a listed client. I used to do it like 8 years back. Okay, and we did it exactly in the same manner. And yes, in between there were to and fro that I need to review it and all, but the major dates, the audit start date, sample receipt date, audit committee date, sign off date, no changes, right? This is my personal experience. You may not agree or not, but look at Infosys, look at Wipro, look at TCS. They are closing their accounts by 30th of September and they release the audit report on 12th. Can they do it by just going in random without having an audit plan? Right? So this exists in the real world. The point is, who is our client and how structured we are? Two things, right? It cannot be done by a single person. Who is our client and how structured we are? So it is very much possible. Audit needs to run in this way, in this fashion, in this planned way. When you will go into a big four kind of an atmosphere, you will find one day delay can have a lot of repercussions. So timelines will be something which will be non-negotiable, right? So even in our case, we used to have tremendous pressure. When I used to do Britannia as an audit, we used to work like crazy hours. I have worked in my life 5 years in audit. Most of the weekends were working. Saturdays was working. Sunday, you have to take permission from your manager to take a leave. Okay. And I used to work for many, many days at a stretch where I used to work till 4 o'clock and come back to office by 8:30. It was taxing. It was very difficult, but that gave the confidence. Okay, how an audit is run, how you, it was like, it was necessary for me to go through that tough phase, and everyone goes through it. If you want to really, really excel in something, that was the time, we have done it, and we were able to achieve it to a larger extent, 80%, not like Infosys and Wipro. They do it like brilliantly. Okay, I can take a session separately how they plan, but they are brilliant in that. Okay, so audit plan, हमने क्या क्या बात किया audit plan में? Understanding the client, right? Having the timeline set, freezing on the audit procedures, freezing on the work responsibility, right? Who will be responsible? Even client is responsible for something. We will agree with him. There is an audit planning meeting, right? Where even we discuss past issues. Like there was some litigation which is going on, right? So this is a past issue. You know what's happened to that. You will ask them in the planning meeting itself that we will need this kind of a thing. Now, audit also require a lot of external touch points, right? What are the external touch points? We are not tax experts. So if any tax litigation is going on, we need a report on that. We are not actuaries, so we need actuarial report, right? So we will have to tell them in advance in audit plan. And in audit plan, there is a part which is called as PBC listing. And this is not a standard acronym, but it is provided by client. So you will have to ask the data from the client. They will give you everything, including financials, including accounting policy, notes, and all the details which you need in each account level. We are not supposed to make the financial statements, though we have made it, all of us, and you can say that also. Okay, we have made financial statements when the client were not up to the mark. We have helped them. You can say we have helped them, right? Okay. Now, are we clear with the planning part of it? Very important. Now, next is materiality. What is materiality and how do you determine materiality? Anyone can tell me? Except for Karan, I know Karan knows it. So, except for Karan, anyone can tell me.
Anything that affects the decision making of users,
Right?
that determines materiality.
Right. How do you arrive at that magic number?
That depends upon case to case basis.
That's right. But how? What case to case basis? Is there any framework for that? Right? Normally, kya hota hai? It becomes random, but it's not random. It is very much logical. Let me just, put it across. The materiality calculation. And how many types of materiality is there? Okay? So how do you determine that the financial statement does not contain any material misstatement, right? So that means you need to have a number, correct? How you will arrive at that number, there is a methodology for that. Every company can have a different methodology, but the logic remains the same. So first thing first is, let me just show you that materiality. To determine a performance materiality, which is the main materiality, okay, above that, if you cross your threshold, that means your financials are containing material misstatement and are not true and fair. Below that, it is true and fair, right? How do you determine that number, that what is my performance materiality? So you remember, materiality is a wide word. Performance materiality is a number, is a magic number. If your differences exceed performance materiality, then your financials need adjustment, either, or it is not true and fair. Getting my point? How do you determine materiality? There are ways to do it, okay? So first, to arrive at that number, you have to take a base. Now, what can be the base? The base can be income, the net income, net profit. Either that can be a base. If it is a loss-making company and not having any profit, then you can take even revenue as the number. Or if it is work in progress, like a real estate company, which is just setting up, lot of building construction etc. is going on, no revenue, no income, but it has an asset base, right? So you will have to first determine what will be my base number. What will be my base? Most of the cases, running profitable company, your base would be earning after profit and taxes, right? Normal profit. So if any exceptional item is there, you will remove it. That will be your base. In case it is a revenue based company, then revenue can be based. If it is loss making, let's say Zomato or Swiggy, I don't think profit can be a right determinant for that. They may go by revenue, right? Similarly, a company which is into infrastructure, I said capital can be the base for that, because you are spending a lot of money and then you will earn in future. So capital can also be a base, right? Which type of characteristics, if you see, profit oriented, profitable, mature companies takes the base as net profit. Revenue, not for profit companies or break even or loss making companies or startups can have either capital or this thing, which you will have to make a judgment as an auditor and document that why you are taking income as base, why you are taking revenue as base, why you are taking equity as base. It's very important because all your work is determined by this, right? Now, how do you do calculation? Let us see. Look at this. So if this is the company which has a total profit of 1500 crores, let's say, okay, because you will be dealing with such large numbers only now, okay, so no small, no lakhs, it will be millions basically. So let me put it millions. Right now, let's ignore this for now. So what we have done, this is the total amount, okay, this is the total profit for the previous year, 1500 crores. What I will do is I will take 90% of that. I will take conservative approach, right? I can even take 1500, but what I will do, I will take a haircut. I will consider only 90% of that, right? And then we can take any percentage on that, which can be 3%, 5%, 7%, not beyond that, okay? And apply on this profit. So 40.5 crores becomes your performance materiality, right? This becomes your performance materiality. So during the course of audit, you might have identified lot of differences, right? If you total all of them and they cross 40.5 crores, that means you need to make adjustments in the financial statements. Otherwise, your financial is not true and fair. If the difference is below that, then it's okay. Okay. This is performance. This is actually performance materiality. Okay. But still, what we do is this is like materiality for planning purpose. It is also called as performance materiality. But again, in Big Four and all that, we again take a haircut on this performance materiality, right? So we take only 75% of that. Because as an auditor, we need to go conservative as much as possible. So we take again a haircut, and these numbers are not defined anywhere in our standard of auditing or anywhere. These are all firm to firm. They have internal policies, and this is determined. Okay. So which is 30.4 will become your performance materiality. That means at a company level, your profit impact or your asset impact or liability impact differences or issues or problems should not cross 30.5 crores at any cost. Got it? So how you will articulate that what is performance materiality is that for planning purposes, we look at the financial statements and we first determine on what basis we have to calculate the materiality. Most of the companies which are mature profit earning, we will take profit as the base and calculate maybe 3 to 5% of the profit as performance materiality, and we will apply appropriate haircuts. So don't start telling them कि पहले 90% करेंगे फिर 75%. Don't confuse them. You say we take profit, we apply 3 to 5% as materiality threshold, which will give us performance materiality. But being conservative, we will take a 75% haircut. Right? You can skip even rather this step for our discussion purpose. Okay, skip this. Let's take it here. I will share this sheet. Okay, so 3%, and then you took a haircut of 75%. Simple. Then there is one more materiality which gets calculated, right? Which is audit misstatement posting threshold. Again, this word can vary, but this is a certain percentage of your performance materiality, right? This is a certain percentage of your performance materiality. That means what? that at schedule level, if you are finding any difference, you will have to keep collecting it somewhere. Getting my point? You are auditing revenue, there is some difference. You are auditing depreciation, there is some difference. You are auditing COGS, there is some difference. Plot it, all the differences. Only if it is above 1.7 crores. Otherwise, you will not plot it. Getting my point? I will show you some work paper and then it will become clear to you, Sudhi. Anuja, are you with us right now? Huh? Deepak?
Yes.
Okay, great. So abhi dekho, digest karo. I will share all these files with you. Similarly, in case you take revenue or fixed asset, the logic becomes the same, but in spite of taking 3 to 5%, 3 to 5% of profit, you will take just 0.5% of revenue or 0.5% of fixed asset. Everything else remains the same. Okay. So I will remove this step to make it simple for you. So the 0.5% which I am telling you, there is a range between 0.5% to 2%. Revenue range normally is 3 to 5%, but again, there is no fixed this thing. You can say we used to do this. Based on our internal guidelines, we used to do this. Okay. So this is how your materiality sheet is prepared. Are you guys with me? Okay, great. Now let's move forward. Are we clear with this sheet also? We are clear with this sheet. You guys can go. No need of remembering the essay numbers and all. Forget it as of now. Right? Now, when you do an audit, right? What you do, another great word for an auditor is sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Please write it down. It's again a COVID-19 vaccine. It has to be in our bloods. What do you do with an audit procedure? You identify sufficient, appropriate. Sufficient means enough. Appropriate means right. Audit evidence. Getting my point? Sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. Right? Which can be identified through various steps. And these audit evidences should address one of our assertions. One of our assertions, CEA VOP, right? So audit step, each audit step should address one of our assertions, and the culmination of that will become sufficient appropriate audit evidence for that account balance, right? It may be little too much for you guys. Is it like that? Or you are able to understand?
No, we are good, sir.
Yes.
Good?
Yeah, it's good, yes.
Yes, sir, it's fine.
Because look, I'm trying my level best to explain the things which audit class, how many hours audit class goes for inter? CA inter audit class, how many hours? 80 hours? I think more than that, 200 hours. Basant Rao.
Sir,
Huh?
assertion based on compliance and substantive process, right?
No, I'm saying how many hours of audit class you take in CA inter?
More
जो
than
coaching
80
होता
hours.
है, हाँ?
Sir, more than 80 hours.
More than, I think it is more than 80. You know, there are like what? I think it is close to 160 hours, if I'm not wrong. Is it? 3 months you take coaching?
Approximately 3 hours in a class.
Right. So look, I'm trying to crash everything and bring it in 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
But trust me, the way it is taught is, I can't comment on that. Okay. No one, audit becomes like nightmare. Just show it to them how audit needs to be done. It will be in your minds forever, right? So that's a different discussion. Okay. But Vasant Rao, you were asking something.
Sir, assessment based on compliance process and substantive process, right?
We will come to that.
Okay.
We will come to that. Okay. So sufficient, appropriate. Injected in your blood, sufficient, appropriated. Okay. हमने judgment is required to now when you अभी क्या हुआ हमने कहां तक आ गए? We have an audit plan, we have materiality in place, right? Now we will have to define audit procedures, right? So how do you do? What are the methods of performing audit procedures? We are not linking it together now, but we are looking at in pieces, and then we will try to combine it together. How do you obtain an audit procedure? How do you perform an audit procedure, or how do you obtain an audit evidence? Is through inspection. You go and inspect board meeting minutes or inspect the contracts. Inspection. Observation. How do you perform observation? That someone is doing stock take. You are standing there and observing, is he doing it correctly? This is observation. In your bank audits, right? Have you done concurrent audits, everyone? How do you do cash count?
Observation.
You ask that cashier to count in front of you. Observation, right? External confirmation. External confirmation means what? Take the confirmation not from the client, but go to the source. Right? What are the examples of that? One of
Bank
the
balance confirmation.
Who said that? Sorry, mera paas sara, I can't see everyone.
Bank balance confirmation. Sir.
Bank balance confirmation. What else?
SF505 and vendor for
The
data balance
creditors.
confirmation.
Creditors confirmation, right? Bank
Token
balance
transit.
confirmation. You see, it is so obvious. It is so simple to get bank confirmation. Entire Satyam scandal happened because the auditor failed to obtain independent bank confirmation. You know what? Do you know that? Why Satyam happened?
Yes.
The base of Satyam was that the auditor did not obtain the bank confirmation, right? Clear? So external confirmation. Recalculation. Where do you do recalculation? An example of recalculation?
For opening balance and closing balance.
No, you don't do reconciliation. Opening balances. Recalculation.
Verification of statutory payments.
Depreciation
calculation.
Depreciation calculation is the right way. Any other thing which you look for?
Stock valuation.
Sir, provision calculation.
You may. Yes, provision calculation also you
Bad
may.
debt provisioning.
You may do recalculation. That's fine. But depreciation is the best example, right? But all these are relevant examples, okay? Reperformance. Someone has already performed, you go and do a reperformance.
A physical inventory valuation.
Physical inventory valuation are two very different things. Physical verification, inventory valuation, right? Reperformance, I will tell you that we don't do too often the reperformance basically.
It is done to check the internal controls if they are working perfectly.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Apart from walkthrough, do you come across any reperformance where we do reperformance? Reperformance. So I have only one example where we do walkthrough. Okay. Apart from that, I'm not coming up with reperformance kind of a thing. Then you do analytical procedures.
Sometimes with closing stock valuation, we might check whether consumption happens at the weighted average cost.
Right. So there are some examples of reperformance, but we do reperformance by a method called walkthrough, and I'll take you through that. Okay, a method called walkthrough. Analytical procedure. What is analytical procedure?
To check on the ratios.
Ratios,
Trends,
yes. Trends also.
Trends
Like,
and ratios.
yes, yes.
Considering the past information and the future projections.
Yes. हम लोग analytical procedure we used to do with a very funny exercise on month salary. Okay, so what we used to do, how do you check the salary register of a 2000 employees company, right? Very difficult to check. So we say, okay, you paid 1 crore, 2000 employees, per employee, let's say 5 lakh rupees in this month. Next month, 1200 employees, take the average. If it is around 5 lakh rupees, I think it is fine. This is another analytical procedure. We do one very good analytical procedure, and I'll show you, that is depreciation logic test. Depreciation logic test. I'll show you. Okay. And the other one is inquiry. You go and talk to different people in the organization. You talk to those charged with governance. Write this word.
Those charged with governance. You may not use it as an injection. That's okay. Keep it somewhere in your laundry list. Not that important at the level at which we are targeting. Okay. Those charged with governance. Unke saath inquiry, or person who is leading the account function or inventory or anything like that, for that matter. Okay. So these are audit procedures. One important audit procedures is test of detail and test of control. That is also called as substantive audit procedure. Okay, substantive audit procedure, which is not coming in here. Ideally, it should be. It's a material abstract I have taken, but substantive audit procedure, which is very, very important. Okay. Now, audit procedures, you have risk assessment procedures, right? If we bifurcate audit procedures into risk assessment procedures, but for your purposes, just come to this level. You can ignore this level. Okay, come to this. Audit procedures are of two types. Okay, if we have to bucket them, test of control and test of details, or substantive audit procedures, right? So you say one audit procedure falls in the category of test of controls and the other falls in the category of substantive audit procedures, right? Substantive are again divided into two parts: test of details and analytical procedure. We discussed analytical procedure here, right? And this is test of detail is like transaction checking and balance verification. Test of details. This slide is one of the most important slides in our entire discussion. And to make it simplified, I am hiding this. Okay, just a rough this thing I'm doing. Okay, so audit procedures, we looked at this. These are procedures to obtain audit evidences, right? And
Sir,
this slide is
we can see only Excel. We cannot see.
Oh, 1 second. Sorry, Baba. Itna time. You should have told me, no? This slide I discussed before, right? And this is the slide. So audit procedures are test of control, substantive procedures. Test of control I'll again cover in detail. Substantive procedure is test of detailed and analytical procedure. Even if you are getting confused with this slide, just keep these names in your mind, okay? But keep this into your core. This is again very, very important. This is extremely important. No slide is more important than this. So what are the audit procedures? Two parts, test of control and substantive audit procedures, right? Substantive is again divided into two parts, test of details and analytical procedures. Test of detail again is divided into two parts, test of transactions, which is vouching, and test of balances, right? I will show you example for each one of them so that when you are talking to them, you can correlate things, right? Got it?
Yes, sir.
And Anuja and Sai Charan, just stay back after we finish this call. I want to discuss with you separately, both of you. Just one liner I want to update you. Okay.
Okay, fine, sir.
Right. Now. Okay. I think now it will start a little bit of complications in terms of, because the same kind of things will get bucket into different things. Okay. But I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. And I will try to open a financial statement. Okay. So I'm opening up a PDF. I'm opening the PDF. Okay. Now let's pick up. Let's assume you have taken a materiality. You have a materiality in place. Okay. You are now given the financial statement, and what is your role? Your role is to determine what are the audit procedures I will do on property, plant and equipment, right? To obtain, why you are doing audit procedures?
Obtain sufficient appropriate evidence.
To obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, right? So what you will do, you tell me now, you have got property, plant and equipment. Use the words which we have discussed so far, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell me the audit steps and tell me which assertion that will suffice. So for property, plant and equipment, first, you tell me, so for each account balance, you don't need to suffice all six assertions. Okay. But it is not that you are just sufficing one. You have to suffice most of them, right? But some you may ignore also. Okay. So you tell me in CEA VOP is on one part. It has one hand is CEA VOP. The other hand, you have audit steps which you will perform. To do what? To obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, right? What are these steps and which assertions they suffice? Tell me, go ahead.
Whether the transaction is occurred or not.
No, Baba. I want, who is there? Vasant Rao.
Yes, sir.
No, don't tell me non-tangible answers. Give me what you will do.
We'll assert for existence of fixed assets.
Through
You will
physical
assert.
verification.
How you will do?
Through physical verification.
Physical verification.
You will, so, okay, let me articulate it differently and then you can add on.
Okay.
One of these steps is physical verification. You will observe, you will not perform physical verification. Remember, as an auditor, we will not perform anything in theory world. I know you must have done it, right? But what you will do, you will observe physical verification. This is one step. This step serves which assertion? Which assertion is addressed?
Existence.
Existence, right? So E is getting ticked off. So at one side you will have steps which are performed, which is what? Physical verification of fixed assets. We will address what? E, existence. Which existence? Physical existence only. Getting my point?
Yes.
But to completely address E as an assertion, you have to also verify the documents.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
right? Let's say, for example, the auditee took you to a farmland, said, look, this is the farmland of 50 crores in my books. You said, I have done physical verification, sir. I have gone there and looked at it. It was there, right? And there were machines also, very good machines, right? You have looked at it physically, fine. But does he has the right to that? Right? So another assertion comes into picture by verification of underlying documents, and which assertion will get addressed by that? Right or obligation. Right or obligation. Right? Getting my point? How do we write steps and do the audit? What else you will do?
So we will check the valuation also.
Valuation.
Why will you check valuation of fixed asset?
Whether it is appropriately disclosed as per the exact value, market value.
Look, I'll tell you one thing, okay? I'll tell you one thing. That valuation you will check, but whether it has to be on the market value or not will determine based on the accounting policy.
Yes.
So there is a policy choice, whether it has to be at a market value or it has to be at a cost. If it has to be at a cost, you will verify what? Fixed asset register and depreciation working to address the V portion of it. If it is at market value, right, then you will need a valuation report, valuer report, external valuer report to address V also, right? So what have we addressed? V, E,
O,
right? C, how will you address C in fixed assets?
Working condition.
No, are you?
Sir, if a new asset is purchased at the cutoff date, then we have to ensure that that is accounted in our current year only. We have to ensure completeness.
You have to look, some of these steps which you are telling is right, okay? Some of these steps which you are telling me is right, but it also, you will also have to think about the client business. Some of these steps may change based on the client business, okay? Agar aisa hota to there must be a standard steps for everyone, right? So depending, always when you answer, you say depending on the client business and the accounting policy, we will do this also, okay? Then for completeness check, you can perform different steps, like all assets which have been purchased are accounted. How will you do that? You will do by performing cutoff checks and looking at the internal controls policy of the client, okay? Then you will do the substantive procedures on addition and deletion, because look, if you see the balance which you are seeing is a culmination of lot of facts. What are these facts? The opening balance, you will check the opening balance for fixed asset, right? It is again a substantive procedure, right? If you go to the slide, you see test of balances, right? Verification, if you see, I'll go to that.
okay.
You see here.
So we can see the PDF of.
Now you can see. है ना? देखो,
Yes.
टेस्ट ऑफ balances भी करोगे आप. By doing test of balances, you will address one of the assertions like opening balance, completeness. Because if the opening balance is coming correctly, then you are adding and deleting the additions and deletions and performing depreciation. So हम क्या करते हैं fixed asset में? Let's see that. Okay. Simple, because we are doing by a logic. If you can do it for one account balance, you can do for all. First, what will happen? opening balance tracing. Done. For depreciation, accumulated depreciation, net block, item by item. Step 1. Step 2. क्या हुआ होगा उसमें? They must have purchased something.
Additions and deletions.
Additions and deletions. तो हम क्या करेंगे वहां पे? Test of details करेंगे. हम क्या करेंगे? Vouching करेंगे.
Yes.
Check the bill.
Are you all guys familiar with Hindi? Are you okay?
Yes.
Anyone who is not? Basant Rao, you are?
English, sir.
English. Arunima?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not.
English. Only.
English, sir.
Yeah, I'll try to maintain only English, okay?
English.
But because I'm a Hindi speaking guy, emotions comes out only when I'm speaking in Hindi, okay? So that's what I'm trying to, do my level best to be only in English. So what you will do, very simple, okay? Understand fixed asset, how this fixed asset has moved throughout the year, opening balance, addition, deletion, depreciation. Anything else?
No.
Nothing, right? How will we do that? Opening balance, checking of the opening balance. Addition, test of details, we will do vouching.
Coaching.
And even we will do test of controls. And I'll come to that. But substantive procedures on fixed asset is what? Vouching.
Coaching.
Then what we will do? What we will do? We will also do fixed asset verification observation. This is also a substantive procedure, right? Then what we will do? We will do a depreciation check. This is also analytical procedure, right? What else we have done? We have checked the underlying documents, which is again vouching. And each one is addressing one assertion. C, E, A, accuracy. When you are doing the carry forward balances, it is also addressing accuracy. So one step can address two assertions, or even to satisfy one assertion, you may need two steps. Getting my point? So the point which I am trying to bring in front of you guys is audit is not a rocket science. The words which we have used is not a rocket science. When you are going with a client discussion tomorrow or in this week, take a pause. If they ask you, how will you audit a fixed asset? Have this entire film into your mind, right? And articulate it better. What you will say is, we will perform certain audit procedures to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, and each step will address one of the assertions, audit assertions. This is your starting of the answer, right? Now, let me tell you what are the steps I will perform. I will do opening balance check. I will do fixed asset verification. I would do test of details of addition and deletion. I would do observe the fixed asset verification. I would also perform an analytical procedure on depreciation, either analytical logic test or reperformance. This is all under substantive audit procedures, right? So हमने क्या किया? Look what we have done. We have given him entire knowledge which we have. What are the words we used? Substantive audit procedure, test of details, analytical procedures, audit steps, assertions. He has not asked us. We have told him in a very, very polished and structured way. Okay? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Are you
Yes,
with us?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Kritika, are you following us what I'm trying to say? I did not saw you before. Kritika, are you there? Okay, no problem. So Kritika is also a qualified chartered accountant. Okay. who is attending this session, right? So now you see, you have got a good hang of the things. Okay. Now I'll show you how these steps are being performed also. So look, I'm sorry, but may not have the best of the material which I wanted to put it together for this session, but you know, I have a. So you see now, audit area. How do you do documentation? Audit area, fixed asset. What are the audit steps and what is the work done? After that, ideally, what we do is CEAVOP. And what we do, we say tick mark that this step will address, let's say C. This step will address E. This will address this, right? So you will have so many audit steps which will have audit step, area, work done, and assertion. This is how a complete thing looks like. In this is missing. Okay. Now you see the perform test of details of fixed asset addition for sample selected through MUS sampling plan. I will come to that. Okay. And what we will do for sample selection, we will perform these tests. Right. Then deletion. So we talked about addition here. This is a step on addition. This is a step on deletion. Then reconciliation we talked about. And we also perform reconciliation of fixed asset register with books. Right? This is also one step we perform. Depreciation logic test. Then useful life assessment of the fixed asset and impairment testing if needed. Okay, so these two you can still ignore also, that is okay for now on, but others are very relevant steps which you are doing. So all your work papers, all your things should look like this. Getting my point? Right? Now, we were all talking about, all these were what? Substantive procedures. Right? But look at this way, that you are auditing Reliance Industries, let's say, right? Can you do a reperformance or recalculation? We are, sorry, Reliance, can you do a complete reperformance of a depreciation? No.
Oh.
Can you do test of details of, let's say, 10%, 20% of the population? No. Very difficult. At a company level like Reliance, right? You will not be able to determine ke kitne crore, how many crores we are talking about, right? Even in one client, I am struggling. I have to check 2 times ke ek zero zyada ya kam to nahi ho gaya hai, right? So company like Reliance, we can't do all that stuff, right? With the size and with the scale, we can't do too much of substantive audit procedures. So how do you get sufficient appropriate audit evidence? How do you get it?
How strong your internal control system is?
Right. So what we will do is, before determining our substantive audit procedures, we understand the control mechanism of that company. So what we do, we say, Acha, you explain us what are the controls you have. Okay, what are controls? What are controls? Like, for example, to release a payment, 3 levels of approvals are required.
Yes.
This is one control, right? Authority matrix is a control in itself, right? There are automatic controls and there are manual controls, right? There are automatic controls and there are manual controls. And both these comes under test of controls. So to do a test of controls, what you will do, you will determine first under each significant account balance, like fixed asset we were talking about, what are the controls in place? First,
Yes.
like, are you maintaining a automatic control? Let's say company like Reliance, it is on SAP, right? Entire workflow is in SAP. From the time you purchase a fixed asset to you sell the fixed asset and depreciation calculation, everything happens online. So what will you achieve by doing tick a mark vouching, which we do? You will not achieve much. Getting my point? So what you do, you will determine that for depreciation calculation is done in SAP by Reliance, and it's an automatic control. It is done automatically. So what you will do, you will involve someone who is expert in IT and ask him to check, okay, is depreciation calculation happening as per the logic? If he says yes, then your analytical procedure will come down, right? Like for example, if entire purchase is in SAP, there are proper approval mechanism, 3-4 people are approving the PO, then the GRIR is happening, right? And then invoice booking is being done by separate team. There is segregation of duty. There is a ICOFER which is there, right? So if there is a control, first you will understand that there is a control. If yes, you will test the control.
Yes.
Right? You will go and test. Acha, तुम लोग 3 level approval लेते हो, you take 3 level of approval before issuing PO. Show me. You take that 3 level for approval of PO. Then what happens? As soon as the goods comes in, we create a GRN, which is created by another person. Okay, I will document. So what we do, first we understand from the client, okay, what are the controls you have. He will tell us what is the control I have. You will document that. Then what you will do, you will select very few samples, and I'll tell you how many samples. Okay. You will select very few samples and test in lot of details each step, who has approved, who has given, which date it has been approved. Entire control you will test. And after testing the control, if you are satisfied that yes, wherever IT control is there, it is working fine. Wherever they said manual control, yes, it is working fine. So if both the things are there, then my substantive audit procedures can come down. Right? For example, let's say, and I'll tell you how to calculate and take out the samples also, that there is a automated control for addition of fixed asset. And there are, you have seen 20,000 additions have happened for fixed assets. Now there is an automated control. You will test the automated control. Okay. And then what you will do, if that control passes, if all samples are clean, the beauty is that if you take 25 samples, let's say, for test of control, and any one sample fails, that means your control failed. And you cannot rely on controls. So to pass, it has to pass 100%. That's the rule. That control should work effectively throughout the year and on samples also. Right? So you took 25 samples and you tested them all, right? And they were working fine. So you will say that for my vouching purpose, for that 20,000 samples, my risk of material misstatement is low. What? Risk of material misstatement is low. Hence, I can take lower samples also. Getting my point? If this failed, then you have to rely on substantive audit procedures only. And then your sample size would be high because your risk is high. So how much How much substantive procedures you will perform will depend on how many controls you have. Right? Now, there are certain magic numbers to control. Okay? What are those magic numbers to control? If it is daily control, daily control means what? Like sales happening daily. Even fixed asset addition, deletion can happen daily. So it's a daily control, right? So you will have to take minimum 25 samples to do test of control. The number is fixed more or less across Big Fours. The number is fixed, but it can vary between 25 to 40. And you will do hell lot of documentation for that. Okay, I don't have any sheet for that. Sorry, right now, that in which strength we do documentation. But 25. If it is monthly control, what is monthly control? Monthly control is like BRS you prepare every month, right? So you take 2 samples for monthly control, right? So weekly and monthly, I have told you. Yearly, if it is happening once, you will have to check it. And there is one called weekly control also. I don't remember the numbers for weekly control, to be honest. Okay. So, Karan, do you remember the number for weekly controls? How we take? Just tell me if you know the number. So, getting my point, you will have to check first whether it is manual or it is automatic. Automatic, we can't check. We will have to involve our IT team to check the automatic control. But if that control is working fine, my risk of material misstatements becomes low, and hence my test of details. Sorry? My test of details sampling becomes low. Clear? And we check certain number of samples and test the control. And control means every minute detail we will check. Who is the approver? Who is the authorizer? Whether it has been done on timely manner, whether it is as per the approval limits or not, everything we check. And then say, yes, the control is working fine. Right? In test of details, we check very few things. And I'll show you that also. Okay. Getting my point? Now, test of controls, there is a standard set of numbers of samples to be selected, like daily control 25 to 40 and monthly control 2 samples, right? But test of details samples are not fixed, and that is where is the trickiest part of your answer. Okay, how do Big Four do it? Big Four have sampling tools. So what they do, they put up the entire dump of, let's say, sales into that tool. Okay, that is, let's say, 10,000 crores. Okay, and they give the materiality number, which we calculated. Which one? Performance materiality after haircut and audit statement, audit ADPT we called it, audit difference materiality threshold. Okay, that materiality we give it to that tool. I don't know what it does, but it gives you some samples. Okay, and based, you check those samples, and if they are all fine, you can say I have obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence from test of detailed point of view. Got it? Clear? Yes. Any questions? Is it becoming heavy? Little bit?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
No, sir.
Clear, sir.
Clear? Let me show you.
Clear.
But what's the procedure to obtain when there's no software determine the sample size?
Who is asking this? Sushovan?
Yes, sir.
Look, if there is no software, right, and if there is no controls, then your vouching becomes very high. You have to do a lot of work on substantive procedures because there is no control. Anyone can do random, right? You can't rely on the process. Here, if control means what, there is a process and everyone is following that process, and things going wrong through that process is very limited. So I will do process checking and I will do some test of details also, right? So that's the whole concept of this. One second. I don't have any substantive testing document to show you, but I will try to share it over the mail so that you can look at. But how does it look like? I'll just make it here for you guys. Let's say sales का हम substantive testing कर रहे हैं. Okay. So what we will document? Date, or let's say we will get a purchase order, right? So PO,
Yes, PO number.
PO date, invoice, invoice number, okay, amount. Then we will say date or proof of dispatch. Client acknowledgement, right? So what you have done here, you have just checked few things: the PO, invoice, and whether the goods were dispatched and received by the client, right? But on the other hand, if it would have been a test of control for sales, what and all you will see? You will see controls around it, right? Like PO, right? So who has authorized the PO receipt, right? His designation, right? On which date the invoice is raised, who approved the invoice, right? Whether who booked the invoice, right? All that process you will document. So TOC is much in depth, but TOD, which is test of details, is very precise. Like for example, PO GRIR and payment, or PO or GRIR. PO GRIR invoice is the best check for sales and purchase. You will only check PO, you will check GRIR, you will check invoice. Three things you will document: date of invoice, number of invoice, GRIR number. That's it. But test of detail, who initiated this, who approved this, who has taken it going forward. Getting my point? Unfortunately, because a lot of data which I have is client sensitive, and I could not, clean it up to show it to you. But if I get something, I will share it with you definitely. But are you clear with test of details and test of controls?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, let's say go back to fixed asset. I'll show you some documents. Okay. See, this is a fixed asset logic test which is there on your screen. I'll just put it. You see, computers, it has different rates for computers. Okay, so we have plotted it. And then we have said opening gross block, addition, okay, deletion, and then closing gross block. And what we have done, we have calculated it in a logical manner. What is that logic? The logic is that opening gross block, full depreciation you will charge if it is not having zero balance right in the opening. You will charge full depreciation. Overall basis on all computers taken together. You will do that. Addition, it may happen that addition is done before 6 months and after 6 months. You will put it that and calculate for half month. We don't want to be accurate in that. We want to be just close. So we do a logic in that form and arrive at the variance, right? So here you see the variance is 0%. Here it is minus 5%, it is 0%, right? And variance in absolute term is 66,000, right? In this test. So I am not, what I have done, I have summarized the entire fixed asset register into one table, into different categories, and I am doing it on an overall basis. Am I clear? Right? So this is what a logic test looks like. Okay, FAR to GL RICO. Let me just show you. We have to compare the fixed asset register with the gross block also, right? So you see, as per financial, how much is the gross block of each category? Accumulated depreciation, net block. How much is as per fixed asset register? And what are the differences? If the difference is below 80 PT, audit materiality posting threshold, the small number which we calculated after performance materiality, if it is below, you will ignore it. Otherwise, you will have to make an adjustment. You will have to ask the client to deep dive into it. Okay. So got it?
Yes, sir.
Are you guys with me, or it is happening heavy?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Let's move forward. One second. Okay. So, just put up more work papers. Let's complete some theory portion and then I will show you some more work paper. Okay. Now you see, this will become easy for you. अभी देखो, account balances जो होते हैं, means whichever comes into balance sheet, right? Whichever comes into balance sheet, you will mostly test them for existence, rights and obligations, completeness, and valuation and allocation. Okay, but where there is class of events or transactions, like for example, sales, purchase, expenses, there you will test occurrence, you will test completeness, you will test accuracy. But how you will test completeness is through cutoff procedures also. Like for example, in the sales, sales scenario where sales is happening every year, every day, right? Where, how will you classify that the sale which is pertaining to 31st March 2021 is actually recorded in that period only? So you will do cutoff procedures, right? So cutoff procedures comes into picture. I will tell you in more detail. This you can see. I'm not going into this slide. So audit evidence, whenever you are taking audit evidence, if it is from third party, it increases your reliability, right? So you can go through it. Test of controls, test of details. I've picked up. Now, sampling. I have covered this up, that sampling needs to be determined for test of control separately, and test of detail sampling will depend on what is the result of test of controls, means what is the risk assessment, whether it is low, medium or high, right? So test of details hum log from that point of view we will do, and then accordingly number of samples will get determined. Okay. Now, how do you identify sampling? This will be a tricky question for us. One is a statistical sampling, where you are using some tool and it is doing some magic and giving you the number. But most of us will do non-statistical sampling, right? So for your answers for tomorrow and day after or Friday, Saturday is this, that the sampling which is chosen by non-statistical sampling is based on the personal knowledge and experience, right? Like for example, what you do, top 10 items, we will cover 30-40% of the total sales, right? These are all what? Non-statistical sampling. So how you will articulate your answer for test of detail sampling is that we will perform control testing, and if the results are positive, we will do non-statistical sampling, because we didn't had any statistical tool where we take high value items, where we take probability. We also select some random samples also, right? So that it gives us sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Use these words in every answer, okay? Most of the answer will use these words, right? Jैसे when I used to give exams in my university, we used to prepare only for 5 answers. Okay, we don't used to prepare for entire syllabus in university, not in CA. Okay, one thing was sure, whatever they will ask, we will give only these 5 answers, right? So for tomorrow, the words which I am giving you, you can answer any answer for that. I can be very, very sure about it. There is nothing more to audit than what we are talking about. ठीक है? There is nothing more to audit. हम कितनी किताबें लिख लें इसके पीछे? Right? We have made it complicated. Ultimately, it is simple. It is simple as that. ठीक है? अभी हमने क्या किया? We have done sampling, we have done TOC, TOD, everything. अभी कुछ misstatements आए. How will you do that? So in case your answer should be, in case we get misstatements in our sampling, in test of details, sampling verification, we will have to extend our audit procedures to establish that it was only one-off case, right? In case you get misstatement while comparing your fixed asset register with GL, you will say if the difference is below our posting threshold. So you say posting threshold, you use the word posting threshold, then we will make a log of this and see if the overall differences are increasing our materiality, right? Otherwise, we will just document it and take a sign off from the client on representation letter, right? That's what you will do. I think we are. ये पढ़ लेना. I will share it with you. You see, this is an analytical procedure example where inventory turnover is so much and gross margin is so much, right? Industry gross margin is so much and client gross margin is so much. So it looks okay, right? It looks reasonably okay. This is an example of analytical procedure. That what is your COGS? If you are into an industry of steel production, right? You cannot have a gross margin of 50%. There is something wrong. Even you cannot have a gross margin of 5% when industry is operating at 22%. So you may need to investigate more on these cases. But This gives you a comfort, right? That industry, it is approximately the same, right? इसको बोलते हैं broadly it is same, right? So जो analytical procedure है, आप ratio analysis, trend analysis, reasonable testing, structural modeling, ये सब छोड़ दो. Trend analysis, ratio analysis, you can say in analytical procedure. Okay. Abhi, we are again coming to completeness. Cutoff is actually not an assertion. In our modules, in CA module, because these are screenshots from that, cutoff is not an assertion. It is a step to determine completeness. Cutoff is not an assertion in itself, right? It's a step to identify completeness. So CEA, accuracy is not there. A should be there. CEA, B, O, and P. P is what? We have not talked about P in detail. P is presentation, right? How it should be presented in financial statement, like fixed asset. It has to be presented in a certain hierarchy in the financial statement. There has to be note, there has to be certain disclosures, which comes from where? From your Ind AS or IFRS. Getting my point? So this is how you will do this, and this is what I wanted to cover through this presentation. I hope this has added value to you and given a prospect to approach audit. Any comments, any questions?
Sir, if you will briefly describe the difference between various materialities, it will be very beneficial. You have already described, but please add on some points.
I will. What else, guys? Anyone else?
So PT, post threshold, just a light on post threshold. PT.
Posting threshold.
Posting threshold.
I will cover that. Anything else? Look, those who are having this discussion tomorrow, today's night is very important for you. Okay. Don't mug up anything. Try to relate with logics. These logics are assertions and sufficient appropriate audit evidence and audit steps. Okay? Sampling, documentation, and all that will be there. Right? In case you get an error in sampling, what will happen? You will report to the manager, you will document and report to manager. Ask and discuss with the client why it is that. It may happen that some wrong documents have been given to you. The sampling error hona in a Big Four environment is a Pandora box which you cannot close. Right? In a small audit firm when we work, it is very manageable, not in Big Four. I know that it is a nightmare. So in our Big Four culture, you will never get a sampling error. सब कुछ ठीक ही होएगा. Okay, because it multiplies your work many times. Okay. Now, I will also share, I will come to those points which you guys are raising. I will share. Look, I have not used CA final material at all. Okay. I have used only CA inter material, which I will put up on the screen. Can you see this? Can you see this?
Yes.
All are coming from these chapters. Okay? Essays are there and all that stuff is there. We will share this entire lot with you. Please don't get overwhelmed with this. This inter, you have already cleared your CA. Okay? So I don't want to. But look at it from a very different angle. हमें कोई एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं करना है. हमको क्या एस्टेब्लिश करना है कि हमने सीखा है वो. हमने मगअप करके एग्जाम पास नहीं किया है, बहुत फर्क है, right? And this is where I'm most uncomfortable with the entire teaching methodology which we have, right? हमें मगअप करके हमें एग्जाम पास करने का फोकस है पूरा। अरे सीख लो भाई, उसको ऐसा एग्जाम पैटर्न डिस्कस करो कि बंदा इंप्लीमेंट कर पाए उसको, राइट? और आप जब इस प्रैक्टिकल एंगल से देखोगे ना, सो ऑडिट का पेपर 2 दिन से ज्यादा प्रिपेयर करने में नहीं लगेगा, only 2 days, and trust me, institute will not be able to give you less than 60 marks, because you will bring that thought process in onto the table. Okay, but khair ye discussion bahut lamba hai because it's very close to my heart, but this is what you will go through. This is audit of items of financial statement, which is page 3 onwards. Okay, what is this shows? Let me just put it across. You see, a few steps which I showed you on Excel. Occurrence. तो assertion क्या हुआ? Occurrence. किस आइटम का? इनकम स्टेटमेंट यानी सेल्स। क्या करोगे आप अकरेंस के लिए? Transaction recognized in the financial statements have occurred and relate to the entity, right? So recorded sales represent goods which are ordered and valid customers were dispatched and invoiced in that period, right? So it is giving you examples. Completeness, जैसे एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट का बोल रहा है, आप सेल्स के ऊपर कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना, राइट? कट ऑफ, प्रेजेंटेशन एंड डिस्क्लोजर, राइट? अभी एसेट एंड लायबिलिटी के लिए एग्जिस्टेंस, एक्चुअली एग्जिस्टेड एट द पीरियड एंड। तो देखो यहां पर भी बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है इस पूरे मटेरियल के साथ में, इट डज नॉट गिव यू इंप्लीमेंटेबल स्टेप्स, इट इज leaving you somewhere in between, right? That inventory recognized in the balance sheet actually existed at the period end. ठीक है भाई, कहना क्या चाहते हो? कहना ये चाहते हैं कि go and do the stock count, observe the physical stock count, right? Check some documentary evidence around inventory, that's it, existence हो गया inventory का, right? So you just have that implementable step in your mind. Completeness, asset and liability, right? Cut off. So all these things are written here in our institute material, which we will share it with you. But आप पढ़ नहीं पाओगे और पढ़ना चाहिए भी नहीं, ठीक है? क्लिक थ्रू कर लेना इसको। मगर क्या करोगे? What is important for you to do is to look at an annual report, let's say, and this exercise has to be done, huh? Those who are having tomorrow interview, if you will not do that, then I cannot guarantee anything what will happen, but I'll show you what you need to do. One second. I'm giving you this annual report. I'm giving you this. तो आपको क्या करना है? I'll tell you what you need to do. इतना टाइम नहीं है कि आप पढ़ोगे इसको, ठीक है? आपको पेज नंबर Just a second. Huh? यहां से पेज नंबर 185, ये एक बार ऑडिट रिपोर्ट जरूर पढ़ना, ठीक है। सो देखो हमने जो पढ़ा है उसको हम वी विल ट्राई टू कोरिलेट। रिपोर्ट ऑन ऑडिट ऑफ स्टैंड अलोन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, वेरी क्लियर कि ये किसके ऊपर है, ओपिनियन। सो व्हाई वी डू ऑडिट, टू गिव द ओपिनियन। तो ये 2 पन्ने का जो स्टेटमेंट है यही ऑडिटर का रहता है, बाकी सब क्लाइंट का रहता है, ठीक है। सो ये 2 पन्ने की रिपोर्ट बनाने के लिए हम इतना सारा कुछ, all that we do. We have audited the accompanying standalone financial statement of Adani Ports Limited, which comprises what a financial statement comprise? A balance sheet, profit and loss account, other comprehensive. Statement of cash flows and statement of changes in equity. Please do remember all these things and read these things. ठीक है, हो सकता है अदर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इनकम आप लोगों को सबको नहीं पता हो, आई विल टेक यू थ्रू। In our opinion and to the best of our information and according to explanation given to us, क्या लिखता है देखो, in our opinion and to the best of our information and according to the explanation given to us, the aforesaid statement and given the information in the manner as required gives a true and fair view. The whole fight is for this line. उसमें भी हमने 50 caveat लगा के लिखा है उसमें, right? So it gives true and fair view in conformity with the Indian accounting standard prescribed under so and so, which is termed as Ind AS, right? This is what the essence is. If you ask me, the first thing which we discussed is around this paragraph. Under what framework you will do, they have defined true and fair view, opinion. This is how a audit report looks like. Okay? Now, basis of our opinion, you see, what is the basis of our opinion? We conducted our audit of the standalone financial statement in accordance with the standard on auditing specified under so and so sections, essays, standard on auditing, right? क्योंकि इंडिया में है, अगर फॉरेन का होता तो हम रेफर करते ISA को, right? Code of ethics and all that is there, you can read it. But so you see, we believe that the audit evidence obtained by us is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion on the standalone financial statement. See the magic words, right? हर जगह पर है, right? This is the crux of the entire thing. Please use these words, okay? Now, audit reports can be of multiple types. Clean audit report, qualified audit report, emphasis of matter. I will very quickly explain you. If auditor does not agree to some portions of financial statement, then he gives a qualification. But there are some matters which are significant enough, right? But not to the velocity of qualifying the audit matter, you give it as emphasis of matters. It is in between the clean audit report, then emphasis of matter, qualified and disclaimer. 4 types of audit reports. What? Clean, emphasis of matter. Like for example, agar aap, if you are in tourism industry, if your client is in tourism industry, and March 21 financials you are signing, you are saying it is prepared as per the going concern assumption, right? But we can't say because it is volatile. We don't know where COVID will go. So we don't know what will be the future, but you can't qualify also. So what you will do, you will put up as emphasis of matter. Look, here also COVID has been identified as emphasis of matter. Something significant which users of the financial statement should look for, right? Now with the new upcoming this thing, even auditors have been given responsibility to report certain key audit matters, right? Which are called as CAM, which are some significant items of the financial statement where auditor should write what are the key audit matters and how have they addressed the key audit matters. This is on the face of the financial statement. So you see our audit procedures related to blah, blah, blah. We tested design, test of design. We do test of design by doing what? Test of controls, design testing, implementation and operating effectiveness of the control over impairment assessment, including those of forecast and blah, blah, blah. रेवेन्यू फोरकास्टिंग हिस्टोरिकल, तो उन्होंने अपने स्टेप्स लिख दिए हैं. उन्होंने बोला कि 2 मैटर्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, उनके लिए हमने ये परफॉर्म किया है एंड वी वर ओके विद इट, राइट. फिर और भी बहुत सारी चीजें यहाँ पे दी होती हैं, like management responsibility of standalone financial statement. So preparation is the management responsibility. Our responsibility is only to provide or give an opinion on it. And what is auditor's responsibility? Our objective are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the standalone financial statement as a whole are free from material statement, whether due to fraud or error, and issue auditor's report and includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is high level of assurance, but is not guaranteed that audit concluded in accordance with essays will always detect material misstatement. Right? जो हमने थ्योरी में पढ़ा, ये उसका प्रैक्टिकल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है. और ऑडिट में जितना होता है या अकाउंट्स में जितना होता है उतना कहीं किसी और सब्जेक्ट में नहीं मिलेगा. खासतौर पे एफएम में तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं मिलेगा. जो हम एफएम सीखते हैं वो कुछ देहरादून का एफएम है, जो इंप्लीमेंट होता है वो कहीं दुबई का होता है. ठीक है, इतना डिफरेंस है. बट ऑडिट में जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं वो इंप्लीमेंटेड वैसा का वैसा ही वर्ड टू वर्ड इंप्लीमेंट होता है, राइट. सो right, this is what it is. Then it carries CARO also. CARO means Companies Audit Report Order, which is only in India. So I'm not taking it in great detail, but an auditor report has 2 parts, the main audit report and even the CARO report, which I think you guys must have prepared it, right? Have you prepared CARO reports? Yes, no, not applicable?
Yes.
You have prepared, right? What about you, Anuja?
I haven't. Practically, no.
So you, Anuja, you have a 1 day's time, okay? But not Deepak and Sweetie does not have that time, okay? So fine, we will move forward, and this is annexure to audit report, which is what they also report on internal control, internal financial controls, ICOFA, which is a new concept. If I go into it, it will again take a hell lot of time. Just be aware of it कि हम internal financial control over financial reporting भी auditor check करके report करता है. You can say I have not worked on that area. That's okay. Okay. And this is what? This is CARO. This is CARO. Okay. Which has all the disclosures. Then you come to balance sheet. अभी जो एक्सरसाइज आपको करना है, एक तो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट को फ्लिप कर लेना. स्वीटी एंड दीपक, दीपक आर यू देयर? दीपक हैज लेफ्ट. स्वीटी, आप ये ऑडिट रिपोर्ट को फ्लिप थ्रू कर लेना, go by one item, प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट, कैसे ऑडिट स्टेप्स होंगे और किस किस assertion को वो एड्रेस कर रहा है, राइट? Then investments, loans, other financial assets, trade receivables, सबके लिए थोड़ा पढ़ना, तुमको उससे भी रेफरेंस मिलेगा. And I will also share some sheets with you, which will give you some more inputs into it. But go through each line by line and have some steps ready in your mind. Right? Like debtors mein external confirmation, cash in bank mein external confirmation. How do you audit? They may ask you, how will you audit a particular account balance? Right? Income expense same आपको करने का है, ठीक है? Just flip through the notes, but don't spend too much of time. The major time you will spend on these two sheets. कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है, leave it. Call me anytime. I can address के ये कैसे हो सकता है या क्या आंसर आप दोगे, right? But don't take, the only point is when you are preparing for something, don't take stress. Nothing wrong is going to happen. The more comfortable you are, the more at ease you will be, more natural you will be. Okay? In the interview, make it a point. Aata ho, nahi aata ho. Never let the smile go off your face. Okay, I don't know, but given a chance, I will, your voice, the quality of your voice will determine whether you will clear or not. Have I asked any one of you sitting here, have I asked any technical question? With no one. What I have determined is the passion to work. ऐसा कुछ rocket science है audit में. अगर 7 दिन मिलेगा, you can beat any Big 4 auditor. We don't have time, right? We can do. It's about, we didn't got that exposure, we didn't got that opportunity, we didn't do that systematic. That's it. So please carry the smile in the interview. Be very comfortable. Whatever you don't know, try it. That I have not done it practically, but I'll try it. I may be wrong, but let me try. Based on what I know. And this is how we will do. ठीक है? Attitude पे reject नहीं होंगे हम. ठीक है? That's the only point I want to tell you, guys. Flip कर लो इसको, go through it, and then we will move forward from there. Right? Anuja and Subba Reddy and who else?
Myself, Sai Charan.
Sai Charan. You may get a call tomorrow from EY, okay? And they may schedule your interview. It has happened already with Deepak and Sweetie, and most probably with one more guy who has informed us that he will not be able to join. Okay, so just give me a second.